Train the muscles, not the joints. Pretty nice view here. Look at this. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you about the power of constant stimulation. Now I know this sounds like overtraining, really, but really what I'm talking about is when you stimulate the body in little bits or little amounts, but more often, how this can have a synergistic effect in the overall pump and the overall feeling in the body, as well as growing in strength, even though you're not working at maximal poundages. So there's one disclaimer in all this. If you find that you overtrain really easily, perhaps you have a really high level of fast twitch fibers in your body, and maybe constant stimulation isn't the thing for you. Maybe that's just not the right technique for you. But one thing I want to share right now is something that did work for me in my competitive years, as well as training throughout the years, and something that I found. I found that stimulating the body just a small amount, whether it's just doing 2, 3 sets or even 1 set of something, but training the body more often or that body part more often, I seem to get more results. Now, the disclaimer on this also is I wasn't working with 5 rep range maximal poundages all the time, because I found when I was just doing the all or nothing principle, which is the way some people train, they train like a bro split type idea where they train the body part once every 5 days and then they just kill it. They do maximal poundages, they're doing 1 rep maxes, they're doing 20 sets for a body part, they're doing all this stuff, and they're just killing that body part. But then they're going a whole 5 or 6 days or sometimes 7 days by the time they train that body part again. I found that I actually overtrained more often that way, or got more tweaked that way, than by just always reminding the body what is the groove. Right? The coordination would increase as I trained more often, and also I would notice that there was a springiness to the muscle from the subtle amount of soreness that was there. And at the same time, I found that the blood flow was always there when I needed it. It was easier for me to get the motivation to train, and at the same time I maintained the pump throughout the week. I wasn't actually just flattening totally out and then getting the pump again when I trained 5 days later. I was always pumped because I was always reminding the body that it needed to grow. So the advantage of this is that I didn't have to use maximal poundages all the time, and also my workouts will be shorter, and in my opinion, this is a more anabolic approach to training. At least it was for me, and it was for a lot of people that I trained with and showed them this training technique. So this is something for you to investigate. So say you're doing the bro split, say you're doing a 3-day split, say you're doing a 4-day split, whatever you're doing, and you are stimulating the body that way for periods of time, maybe it's worth a try for you to then start trying maybe whole body workouts or a 2-day split or something like that, but just doing a couple sets, but training the body more often, and maybe even increasing the rep ranges so that way your body can recover from those workouts, but making that frequency and that constant reminder to the body that it needs to grow as a priority. And this can bring big dividends in your training. It really did for me. I found that I actually got more results, I got more strength from it, and I got a better groove. And I found that overall, I got injured less just because I was constantly in touch with the body, and I was just constantly grooming the muscle and constantly pumping blood there. And from doing so, I actually gained a lot of size. And when you think about it, what makes sense, right? If you do something once a week, would it make sense for your body to adapt to that as opposed to what it does every single day or most days, right? Or the majority of the time. So if you're training only once in a blue moon, then why would the body really say, okay, I need to adapt to this in order to become more adapted to my environment or more in alignment with my environment, right? But if you're doing something on a more consistent basis, you know, and not too much, I'm not talking about overtraining here, but I'm talking about just doing the reminder type principle where you're just reminding the body that it needs to be strong, reminding the body that it needs to be able to deal with a certain amount of tension on the muscles. It would make sense that the body would make that a priority and say, okay, this is something that I have to encompass or include in my overall adaptation. So anyway, this is worth a try. It's kind of like the callus principle I talk about. When you dig a ditch every day with a shovel, you know, you're just digging that ditch, you'll notice that you'll start to develop calluses. But if you only dig a ditch once every week or so, it seems like every single time you're just overstimulating the body, and then you're just tearing your hands apart, and you're never really getting that callus. You're basically just constantly abusing yourself every time you dig that ditch, right? So it can be the same for some people when it comes down to training. They actually do overkill. Like they train too hard for that one day, and then they don't hit the body part ever again. So it's almost like they get out of shape by the time they hit that body part again. So you might be one of these people that responds to constant stimulation. So if you're one of these people that's done the bro split for a period of time and you notice that you're maybe at a plateau or something, perhaps you need to investigate this type of training for a period of time before going back to your bro split again. You could try the constant stimulation principle, which means you're not killing the muscle, but you're stimulating it constantly and then encouraging it to grow, because you're constantly reminding the system that it needs to put on muscle and that it needs to maintain a certain amount of strength, right? So yeah, try this out. It means higher frequency training, less volume. Maybe it means less intensity as well. So that way you can actually recover enough so that you can hit the body part again the very next day or maybe within 2 days. So try this out. I hope this helps you out with your training. Thanks a lot to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now.